jealous of my peers and where they be. They got the hunger and the looks to break the scene. Coulda, shoulda, woulda is the line that's on my mind. How long ain't nothing, just a waste of time. So long to the big parade with my name in flashing lights. So long to the paper bags dedicated to my life. So long to the autographs and the people that stop and stay. Vaccines and limousines with I don't really care. Ain't my star calling, ain't my music calling, it just a voice. It ain't my
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to another episode of Ingrediology. My name's Logan. I'm going to be your chef instructor for the afternoon. For those of you following along with us at home, make sure you have that class guide opened up, ready to go. We have the equipment list, your recipes, everything you need to recreate this class at home. If you're watching the VOD, you can also visit that. It's still going to be applicable. You can come back and watch that at any time on any of our platforms from Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Tastemade. All the VODs are going to be available here after the live stream is over. So what are we making today? Well, we are making some delicious biscuit-topped chicken pot pie. We're gonna be making our own rosemary biscuits with buttermilk, and then we're gonna be topping our delicious gravy that's just chock full of chicken, peas, shallots, carrots, celery, onion, garlic, some rosemary, thyme, all sorts of stuff is going in here. It is going to be a stick to your ribs meal, perfect for a cold day such as this. I don't know where you all are at in the world right now, but it has been in the single digits, even in the negative temperatures out here in Denver, and I couldn't think of a better dish to serve when it's this freezing outside. How we doing, everybody? I see that we have some people joining us on Tastemade. Hello, everybody. Just feel free to interact in chat as much as you like. Throw in comments, questions, anything that you might have throughout the class. If something comes up and you think of it, you're like, hey, I wonder, please shout it out. The whole point of a live stream is that we are interacting in real time and you have me available at your disposal for the entirety of this class. Thank you to everybody who's joining us on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook, our other more public live streaming platforms. I'm glad that you're here. CB Nuttree, Spank My Betty, good to see you. Hello, hello. I heard a rumor the first 15 chatters were getting free pot pies. Yeah, sure. I'll send them to you. I'll ship it over. I'm not guaranteeing any kind of quality upon delivery. I'll send you a pot pie. But you would fall within those first 15 chatters for sure, Betty. It's good to see you. Happy Wednesday to all of you. Yeah, why don't we just jump right in? If everybody's ready. Hello to everybody in chat. And can we get some raised hands over here in Tastemade? And then is anybody on the other platforms going to be following along here on the recipe with us today? Curious to know. All right, let's go over the class guide for this class. Okay, so over here, oh, I gotta change the stinger transition. That always happens to me. Every single time we start off, I gotta change it out of the stinger. All right, what you see up on your screens now, right now, everybody, is going to be our class guide for the biscuit-topped chicken pot pie. Make sure that you have these things on hand, as this is what I recommend to complete this recipe, starting with apron, got it on, got my towels ready to go, some measuring spoons, measuring cups, just to make sure we're accurate in our recipe, a chef's knife, and a cutting board. You're obviously gonna need a peeler, serving spoon for at the end when we're getting this all plated up, rubber spatula, a whisk, a box grater. Now you can use a regular grater, it doesn't have to be a box grater, but something that's going to shred our butter into our biscuit dough. That makes sense. 2 mixing bowls. We're gonna need a large cast iron skillet, which I've got out, a bench scraper, just gonna make your life easier when we're cleaning up the mess that we're gonna make with our biscuit dough, plastic wrap to wrap the biscuit dough in as we chill it for 30 minutes in the cooler, a sheet tray to hold the biscuit dough on, and then of course a rolling pin for when we're rolling these out later, okay? Now you'll have below this your recipe guide. This is really handy, guys, because not only does it function as your recipes, but you can multiply your yield. So if I want to make this for 8 people, the recipe will automatically adjust. You can also change it from US measurements into metric measurements if you're not in the US. And also the little check boxes here on the side act as a shopping list. So as you're moving through the grocery store, you can tell what you have and what you still need to get for the recipe. Really handy, I love it. Oh, and last thing, nutritional information. We got nutritional information based per serving down there. It's an estimate, you know, and the computer does the best it can, but I think that's a cool little feature too. Unfortunately, those 8 pieces are well seasoned, so I'm going to be getting more seasoning in my pot pie. Wait, you have 8 pieces of chicken? Rexus, thank you for the 25 biddies. I appreciate you. Rexus, it's good to see you. How you been today? It was great catching up with you over in Kanara's stream. Kanara's having a heck of a time over there. All right, so that is the equipment list that you guys are gonna need. I've already gone ahead and I've taken the liberty of setting up a lot of my ingredients already over here on the sheet tray. So why don't we run through that real quick, starting off with our biscuit dough, since that's gonna be the first thing that we are making this afternoon. Whoop, here's our biscuit dough tray. Make sure I'm keeping up with Tastemade chat over here. All right, nobody talking in Tastemade quite yet, but you know, I got my fingers crossed. Somebody's gonna say something. Today was a long day at work. Oh, was it, Rexus? Well, hey, you're off now, hopefully. And now you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the stream and just watch me make up some delicious chicken pot pie. All right? Deal? All right. The ingredients that we're going to be using in our biscuits this afternoon are going to be 1 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour, 2/3 of a cup of bread flour. For our fats, we're going to have 3 tablespoons of vegetable shortening. We're also going to be adding in 6 tablespoons of butter, but I'm keeping that chilled in the cooler for right now for when we have to pass it through our box grater, like I mentioned earlier. We have 1 tablespoon of baking powder, not baking soda. It's important, you need to differentiate. Baking powder right here. 2 teaspoons of coarse kosher salt. I'm using Morton's. And then we have 1/2 of a cup of whole milk right here. 1/4 of a cup of buttermilk. And then we have some fresh rosemary, which we're going to be mincing up. And they're just going to be these delicious rosemary-infused biscuits. I love them. I love them. So make sure you got those ingredients on hand. Like I said, we will be beginning with our biscuits. So if you're trying to prioritize which to do first, then I would do the biscuit dough first. Bess, welcome. Good to see you over here on Tastemade. Hello to you as well. Glad you could join us here live this afternoon. That's awesome. Now, these are the ingredients for our chicken pot pie minus the rotisserie chicken, which I have in the cooler presently. Starting off over here on our veggie side, we're gonna need 2 carrots. I'm using, they look like parsnips, but these are actually just yellow carrots. We have 1 shallot, a rib of celery, 3 cloves of garlic, 1 cup of frozen peas. Now the herbs, we've got some rosemary, thyme sprigs we're gonna be mincing up later, a bay leaf, and some dried oregano leaves. Now in your original recipe it says you can use dried rosemary and dried thyme. I just happen to have it on hand and fresh and I want to use it up before it went bad. So that's why we're going to be differentiating from what the website says just in this little aspect. Now we have 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and 2 tablespoons of butter because after we've sauteed our mirepoix, that would be the carrots, celery, and onion here later in the class, we're going to make a roux in that veggie mix after we've added our garlic and bay leaf, and then that will thicken our filling. It'll make it into a gravy, okay? A roux, R-O-U-X, is a thickening agent. We'll talk more about that when we get to it. I also have 5 cups of chicken stock. They're in bags because I make my own chicken stock and freeze it. I've thawed out 3 bags. I'm guessing this is gonna be 5 cups, but if it's not, I also got a bag on backup over here, okay? That covers, well, like I said, plus our rotisserie chicken is gonna be going in here. We'll pull that here at a certain part in the class. That is gonna be the ingredients that we need for the chicken pot pie filling. All right, again, take this opportunity, if you're cooking along, to get all those ingredients gathered up and ready to go, all right? Now, we are going to be beginning by measuring out our biscuit dough ingredients. So I've already kind of done that here on the tray, but let's bring up step 1. Boom, measure dry biscuit dough ingredients and combine. Now, one thing I did leave off, and I noticed this right before class started, you know, you find all your mistakes about 2 minutes before you go live, right? Is I didn't include a step to mince up our fresh rosemary that we're going to be adding here into the biscuit. So what you want to do is just pull the leaves off the sprigs of your rosemary. Blob, welcome in. Good to see you. Please don't hug the grater. That would be bad. Hover Sway, hello. Are these Midwest serving sizes or normal serving sizes? Asking for a friend. I think I would consider this a pretty normal serving size. This is not a Midwest serving size. Although that's all relative because like across America, maybe it's a smaller serving size, but in Europe, this would be like, you know, supersizing it. So it's all relative, right? But we're just gonna take the leaves off the outside of our rosemary sprig right here, guys. Mince these up and then keep them in a ramekin off to the side. Can someone get a hold of Blob, please? Make sure that they don't hug the grater. That would be fantastic. Sound off in chat if you are going to be cooking along with us this afternoon. I'm interested to know. I don't know how many people actually do these live with us. If you do end up cooking this with us today, take those pictures and tag us on Instagram. I love seeing the food that you guys cook off these classes, okay? Do it! All right. We pulled off our rosemary sprigs and now we're just going to move through this with a knife. A mince is pieces the size of a grain of rice. So that's what we're gonna do. I just sharpened this today, so it should be nice and sharp. Friendly grater. I'm rather excited for this dinner. Good, I'm glad to hear it, CB. That's awesome. I'm excited for this dinner too. Oh, I might have to dash out the door, though. Leave this behind right after I serve it. We had the vet. Kipling is at the vet today. Kipling's our cat, for those of you who don't just hang out here all the time. He's having a tooth cleaning. We thought we was going to get a tooth extracted, but the vet called and said they didn't end up having to do that. But he needs picked up. And they're like, can you come at 5? And I'm like, that's going to be cutting it real close for me. I'm basically going to be finishing the class and then running straight down to the vet after that. So maybe Megan's going to end up going. Who knows? But they say he's healthy and recovering from his anesthesia right now. So I'm happy to hear that. Watching today best, that's totally fine. Just, get your bearings, see how I go about this recipe, and that'll make it much easier when you go back and view the replay to recreate it. Where are you joining us from, Bess? Working at the moment, but for sure we'll be making this in the near future. Heck yeah. That's awesome. If you are following along, you should be mincing your rosemary right now. And then immediately moving on to measuring out your dough ingredients for our biscuits. All right, maybe just one more pass here. One more pass and we're good. Los Angeles, very nice. So you guys are an hour behind us. It's only 2:12 for you out there. It's difficult scheduling these classes where everybody can join, and so I kind of gave up trying. I was like, well, if it's 6 o'clock on the East Coast, then that means it's going to be like 3 o'clock on the West Coast or 2 o'clock, or whatever. Is everybody going to be able to come? But then, I was like, if they want to remake it, they can watch the VOD. Go at a time that's convenient for me. Sorry. What was I in here for? Oh, I needed a ramekin. I need a little bullet for my rosemary. All right, rosemary's ready to go. We can pull over the rest of these ingredients for our biscuit dough because our next step is going to be, after combining those dry ingredients, grating our chilled butter. So we're not quite there yet. Let's just get our dry ingredients in the bowl. This is our 1 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. And then this is our 2/3 cup of bread flour. We're using 2 different kinds of flour today. Bread flour just has a little higher gluten content. All right, now the dry ingredients are also going to include our baking powder. Remember, baking powder. Baking powder and baking soda they both serve the same purpose. They're leavening agents, but it's the way in which they go about leavening whatever you're trying to bake that differentiates them. With baking soda, everyone's seen the 6th grade science project where they bring the paper mache volcano, a little vinegar, a little baking soda, blah, 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 nomos Pompeii. All right, that is a chemical reaction. It's reacting with the acid and the vinegar to generate the gases, which in turn in a recipe would leaven your bread. With baking powder is a thermal reaction. So in the presence of moisture above a certain temperature, it begins to generate gases, okay? So we are using a thermal leavening technique this afternoon by using our baking powder, not a chemical one, by using baking soda. Make sense? You with me still? All right, good. The only deaf guy, Connor, welcome in. It's great to have you here. I'm trying to keep up with chat and everything. Mom Boss Lady, thank you for being here. What's up, Paige Ann? Good to see you. Thanks for coming over. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday, but it's great to see you here. Now, can we get a shout out for the only deaf guy? Make sure you're checking out Connor's channel over on Twitch here. He works as a line cook in a bistro, and he streams that out every morning because he's on UK time. So it's every morning for us here in the States. So make sure you go drop him a follow. I hope you're well, Connor. All right, so we've got our dry ingredients combined down here. I'm just working my fingers through this to roughly mix this together. You don't have to go all out and like re-sift everything back together, right? And then we're gonna make a little well right in the center. We're gonna glove up too, because I'm just getting flour everywhere already, right? And it's time now to grate our chilled butter and add it to our dry ingredients. So I'm just gonna take the box grater and set it right down here in the bowl. Okay. Boop-a-doop. Now I've got my butter, 6 tablespoons, because I cut off 2 tablespoons earlier. And I'm just going to pass this through the larger holes here on my box grater. It doesn't need to be super fine. What this does is allows your butter to incorporate more easily into the rest of your dough mix. You could cube it up finely, chop your butter, but honestly, this is easier. And it's even finer, so it's easier to mix into your biscuit dough. Sound alerts are off. Sound alerts are off. Oh, interesting. Oh, sorry. See above question for CB Nut Tree. My bad. I'm trying to keep up here. I have all these seasonings out. Not sure if I need them all anymore. So what seasonings are you going to be using, CB? Welcome in, Snake Eye. Can I get a shout out for Snake Eye DIY? A head mod here over on Ingrediology, but also a Twitch streamer in his own right. Does makers and crafting. Is that the question? Oh, Logan, because all I could find was already seasoned roasted thighs and legs, do you have any advice on the rest of my seasoning? So, CB, with the seasoning that's going to go on the chicken itself, if this is already pre-cooked rotisserie chicken and whatever, we're actually not going to be including the skin, so it doesn't matter that much the seasonings that are on the outside of your legs and thighs and stuff. So I wouldn't worry about it. Don't change the recipe. We're going to peel off the skin. That's going to go off to the side, and then we'll just pull the meat off, and that'll get incorporated into our gravy. So use the same oregano and rosemary, thyme, and bay leaf. All right. Hope that helps. Thank you for the question. All right, we've got our butter in here. We're now going to add in our shortening. I'm just breaking this off into like pea-sized pieces and spreading it throughout. And then I gotta scroll down chat. Sorry if anybody is talking in chat right now. All right, let's scroll down in the chat. Got it. Okay, good. 100 messages today with Restreams chat. Woohoo! Got it. All right, so I'm just mixing in our fats, both the vegetable shortening and our grated butter. Because kind of like when you make pie dough, you want to have just these little pieces of fat spread throughout. This is not going to be a severely kneaded dough. We're not going to keep going and going and going. We're not trying to develop gluten when we're kneading this. We just want it to come together loosely. No more dry spots of flour are going to be remaining, but it's also not going to be completely homogeneous, okay? Now, we're going to add in our rosemary at this point to our dry ingredients. What's step 3? We just added our vegetable shortening and we mix it to combine. Step 4 is going to be adding our milk and buttermilk, and then once again mixing loosely. So we're just going to incorporate our rosemary at this step. If you're just joining us, everybody, hit ! recipe in chat and you will be shown our website where we have a class guide up and ready to go so you can follow along at home. You can come back and watch it. Just made myself a little well down here in the center of the bowl to pour my milk and buttermilk in. That's half a cup of whole milk and then a quarter cup of buttermilk. God, I'm gonna have to make like a bunch of pancakes or do a second batch of these biscuits here because they only had buttermilk in quarts at the grocery store today. So I needed 2 ounces and I have 30 ounces left over. So we're just waiting for the liquid to be absorbed here and our dough to start to form before on step number 5, we'll turn this out here onto our cutting board and knead this so it just comes together, okay? Can I substitute non-fat plain Greek yogurt for buttermilk? Bess, I think that'd be possible. Yeah, I'll see why not. Give it a try. No guarantees here. I'm not a trained baker, but I mean, yogurt's going to be a little bit thicker, but buttermilk's already pretty thick. Like, buttermilk's in between milk and yogurt, right, in terms of thickness. But it's going to have that nice acidity to it if you're using, like, Greek yogurt. All right, guys. We are just going to form this loosely into a dough. We just want to keep pressing this until the butter starts gathering up all those little dried pieces of flour. Again, not trying to develop gluten here, so we're not going to continue kneading for more than it takes to just mix this up. Can you make this dough and freeze it for use later? That's a good question. However, yes, you absolutely can. Now you're going to want to give it plenty of time to thaw. It's not like you can thaw this in the microwave or whatever. So if you have frozen dough, then what you're going to do is take it out, put it on a sheet tray, cover it with plastic wrap, and then set it in the refrigerator just to do what we call slack thawing out over the course of like 24 to 36 hours, okay? That would be my only piece of advice there. All right, gotta stay organized. Gotta clean up, clean up. Boom. Now this is where your bench scraper comes in, okay? Pick up all these little excess pieces of dough you got hanging out on the board. Incorporate those into your dough. And then get that plastic wrap out because our next step is going to be taking and wrapping this and allowing it to chill in the cooler. Hoop, hoop, hoop. What if I cut the biscuits before freezing? Well, it would still be the same deal. However, you want to make sure that it's totally thawed in the center. And if you do plan on freezing it, then... well, my vacuum sealer just dropped out of the pantry. That's good. If you do plan on freezing those, you are still going to want to take that same 24, 36 hours to let it slack thaw on a sheet tray. Okay? God, I hope that vacuum sealer survived. That thing is very important in my kitchen. All right. So I just poured my dough into a little rectangle right here. Wrapped it in our plastic wrap, and then we're going to toss this into the refrigerator to chill for 30 minutes, everybody. And our next step is going to be breaking down our roasted chicken. Ooh. Whew. Gotcha, thanks. Rip vacuum sealer. I know. Ay, ay, ay. It happens. I'll have to plug it in and test it out later. All right, take a second, guys. Wipe down your board of any excess flour. I would recommend some gloves if you have them on hand. You can just order these on Amazon. I get mine by the case at Restaurant Depot. But just some vinyl gloves would make pulling your chicken down that much easier. We're going to be mainly using our hands, especially if you've given time for our chicken to cool. You bought it a few hours ago or even the next day. Lori62, welcome in. Thank you for being here. And Randy, what's up, Siguric? What kind of cheap cooking stream is this where you can't even rotisserie roast your own chicken? It's about time saving, Randy. I'm not going to make you guys sit here for 2.5 hours just to get to the chicken part here of our ingredients. But if you want to roast your own chicken at home, please, by all means, do so. Okay. Garbage off here to the side. And let's get our chicken out. Where are you joining us from, Lori? All right. We've got our chicken. And that's the other thing. Like, if you're gonna roast your own chicken at home, again, by all means, please do. I would love it for you to make absolutely everything from scratch. But I included this in the recipe for 2 reasons. One, it's very easy to pick up a rotisserie chicken instead of having to roast it for yourself. But number 2, it's also much cheaper. If you're buying like a whole chicken nowadays, you're looking for like a 3 to 4 pound chicken, like $10. And then I picked this up at Sam's Club for $4. That's because they're ordering chickens by the hundreds, right? And it's costing them $1 a chicken to roast these up and put them out, and then they charge you $4. But if you're going to buy your own chicken, it's going to be actually more expensive than just buying your own rotisserie chicken. Not as high quality, for sure, if you're making it yourself, but saving a little bit of cash. So it's your pick. About 60 miles south of you. Nice, Lori. Down in old Colorado Springs, huh? So, what should I do here? I'm just gonna set this out on a tray so I don't get my board all greasy. Whew! Deep Space Funk, what kind of hair gel do you use? Oh, would you like to know? I actually really like my hair gel because it's not a gel, it's a pomade, all right? But it's this stuff. Badger, Navigator class stuff. But it smells like cardamom. I love it. Maybe not the serious answer you were expecting, but hey, you got it. Helps to make it on weeknight too by getting the pre-cooked chicken. Exactly, Hover. See, you're picking up what I'm laying down. All right, let's get the string. I trust this thing, so pull the string out of there. Definitely don't want to incorporate that. I buy rotisserie chicken all the time, Beth says over on Tastemade. See, we're not going to hate on anybody for buying a rotisserie chicken. I want you guys to find my recipes approachable. I don't want you to be, intimidated by how much you have to do. Nafa, welcome to the stream. I'm going to take a stab at that there, but Nafa, welcome. My name's Logan. This is Ingrediology. I'm a chef out of Denver, Colorado, and you're joining us today making biscuit top chicken pot pie. How's your Wednesday going? Oh, I'm like not narrating at all. I just removed the wishbone, which is basically the collarbone here on our chicken. As I told CB earlier, we're really just going to peel off the skin here because the only thing I'm interested in is the meat. Then you can just take and start pulling this apart. Pull it into like chunks. Just how chunky, how big a pieces of chicken do you want in your chicken pot pie? Cardamom, so good, I know. It's one of my favorite spices. I keep whole cardamom here in my spice cabinet. Reminds me of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I'm a Dapper Dan man. What can I say? Oh boy. Nawaf coming in here all incendiary. I'm not responsible for what chat does to you, Nawaf. Were you, CB? Whoop, whoop, whoop. If you're just joining us here, guys, on Ingrediology for our Wednesday weeknight dinner, today we're making some biscuit top chicken pot pie. You can find these recipes if you hit exclamation point recipe in chat. That'll take you over to our website. We give you an equipment list, all the recipes. It functions as a shopping list, and the recipe converts to metric. It can scale up if you want. If you want to serve more than 6 people, it'll multiply itself with whatever number you put in. It's got nutritional information on it. One of my favorite all-time movies. You know, CB is one of Megan's favorite all-time movies too, and I hadn't seen it until just a couple of years ago. I agree, it's very good. I just bought a few different pomades. Thanks for the new option. Hey, you're quite welcome. I always feel like it's hard because sometimes you buy pomade and they all act a little differently. Fun fact about pomade, and it's not pomade, okay? Pomade, the Americanized version. Pomade is French. And pomade originally, this styling hair gel, was made out of apples and pork fat. Tea-sipping elf, welcome to the stream. Great to have you. Happy Wednesday to you. We were just talking about pomade. So anyways, pomade, apples in French is pomme de terre. Pomade is like hair, apple hair stuff. That's where the word comes from. Apples and bacon fat. I'm pulling our chicken relatively big. Okay. This was a extra large rotisserie chicken here this time. We might not be using all this. What we need out of this rotisserie chicken that you buy everybody is 4 cups. 4 cups of shredded chicken. And by just doing the breast, we're pretty much there. So I might save the legs on another one. I've been listening to the soundtrack for nearly a decade. Pomade. But Elf, where are you joining us from? And what's your favorite kind of tea? Tea sipping Elf, you got to have a couple of favorite teas, right? I'm a fan of rooibos and chai. I love. I have chai tea daily. And for those of you who are here in Colorado, if you guys have not tried Sherpa chai, it's made in Boulder, Colorado, you're missing out. It's available at Safeway. They carry it there because that's where I buy it. And you can also buy it on Sherpa Chai's website. But I get the spicy variety. Chai is my favorite. Well, again, that cardamom coming back into play. Just gotta love cardamom. Now, while I do like dark meat, especially in chicken pot pie, like I said, we really only need 4 cups of shredded chicken right here. So I think I'm gonna forego the legs and the drumsticks, just stick with the breast meat, because yeah, we got a lot here. This is a roided out chicken. Could I find it here in the Springs? If you have a Safeway. All right. I'm just gonna set this aside for later use. Maybe I'll treat Kipling when he gets back from the vet. Feed him some nice chicken scraps and whatnot. Whew. All right. We've got our chicken pulled. This is ready to go, everybody. Whoop, whoop. All right, I'm just gonna set this off to the side till it comes time that we need to use it. So let's go, oh, good, I'm adding in numbers. 800, there we go, boom. 3, let's go to 1. What's our next step here? Step 8, we need to start cutting our carrots, celery, shallots, and garlic. We need to cut up our veggies. They're gonna be going into the chicken pot pie. Now, this mixture of carrots, celery, and onion is known classically as mirepoix, M-I-R-E-P-O-I-X. Another French word, more French coming into play here, guys. But that just refers to this medley of aromatic vegetables which make up the basis for a lot of different dishes, a lot. If you're making stock, if you're making most soups, if you're making chicken pot pie, gravies, you'll start with a mirepoix. All right. Now, there is a different version of the mirepoix called the Trinity. This is a Creole invention where they nix the carrots and they add in green bell pepper instead of the mirepoix, and that becomes known as the Trinity, and that's used for jambalaya and gumbo and a lot of different dishes down there in Louisiana. We know we love Louisiana on here on this channel. Speaking of which, where's Arbitrator? Arbitrator, you here? I'm from Kanara's stream. As for teas, I love black tea, green tea, and Earl Grey mainly. I was given some lovely flavored black tea by Hearty & Sons. Wish I could get it again. Wow, that's lovely. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming over from Kanara. Kanara is a lovely soul, and if you guys aren't already following Kanara over on her Twitch channel, you need to be. I actually, right before I started the stream today, I was hanging out with Kanara, and she was doing Russian bread. She's having a World Bread Day. All right. Now, let's talk about mirepoix. Here are the ingredients for the mirepoix: celery, shallots, carrots. Garlic is not included in mirepoix, although you'll oftentimes find it in the same recipe. Not technically mirepoix. And then we're gonna have to break down our fresh herbs that I'm using today, our thyme and our rosemary. Now in the recipe it says dried herbs. We mentioned this earlier in the class. You can totally use dried herbs. That's how the recipe is intended to be done. But I had some fresh stuff laying around, so I'm gonna be using fresh. Now, let's begin with our shallot. We have the stem end, we have the root end of our shallot. So we're gonna take off the first like 1.5 inches, the top on the stem end of our shallot, get this skin out of here. And then we're gonna trim our root end. We're just giving them a haircut. See how little I'm taking off right here? Just enough to get those little brown rooty bits so they don't end up in our final product. That can go off to the side. Now shallots usually come in like a little twin pair right here. And it looks like this one is no exception. We'll just pop that apart. Boop. Hey, we're gonna be mincing up, not mincing, but small dicing up the whole shallot, okay? Oh, another person from Kanara's stream. That's great, Lori. Thank you. She's such a lovely soul. You know what Kanara did? When Remy was born back in October, she sent me, I'd have to go up to Remy's room and get it, and I think he's actually sleeping right now. But she made for me this beautiful green quilt with like a beige border around the outside. We have it in Remy's room. I can't thank her enough for that. That takes time. That takes hours to like crochet an entire quilt. Well, it's not a quilt, it's a blanket. Crochet a blanket together. It was amazing. I appreciate Kanara so much. A lovely person. All right, back down here on the board, we have our shallot. I'm gonna cut this in half through the root end right here. And you can see that all the layers of my shallot come back to attach at the root end. That's why we cut this so shallow when we were trimming the root hairs off, because it's gonna be easier to cut our shallot when it's all attached and intact, okay? She's great. I've known her since I was a little girl. Have you really, Lori? Gosh, so lovely. All right, we're beginning our rainbow cut, which I'm just starting without even telling you what we're doing. So let me back up here for a second. What we're gonna do is begin on one side of our shallot, our knife almost parallel to the board, and then begin making thin slices, always aiming towards the center, where everything kind of curves around, aiming towards the center of our shallot, okay? And we're just gonna do that all the way. That means that the angle of your knife changes with each cut, everyone. So by the time I reach the halfway point, I should be straight up and down, and then we start marching down the other side. Now, the idea is that this is one piece when you get to the end of your shallot. That's why I'm using just the tip of my knife and not cutting through the root end right here. That way it remains in one piece. We're just gonna do that to all of our shallot halves, okay? Nice little rainbow cut. Who else is joining us on Tastemade? Bess is the only person talking. You guys are so shy. Everyone's so quiet over on Tastemade. I think they're not used to like the live stream and the chat format, and it's just a raucous frat house over here in Twitch. Can't even read some of the stuff that you guys are saying over here in chat. All right, so we've rainbow cut our shallots. We've gone around. Now we're gonna take and we're gonna turn it perpendicular to how we were cutting it before, and at the same interval, slice it down, and that'll get us a nice dice here on our shallot, okay? Streaking in the quad, says Hover Sway. Okay, so there's our diced up shallot. We can get rid of our root ends over here, and then I need to get my little mise en place thing out of here. It's actually a bar caddy, but it works. Works really well. Check out my spice cabinet. Very nice. All right, we'll set that up over here. Like I said, this is just a little bar caddy, guys. Like what you would normally keep lemons and limes and oranges stuff. But I like using it for my mise en place. All right. Oh, let's do our celery next. Your name. So we've got our one rib of celery right here. We want to get a dice out of this as well. I'm gonna take off the part closest to the root here, as different from our shallot, and then I'm gonna cut planks, just thin sticks, batons, if you will, out of our celery. We're looking for a small dice, 1/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch. So that's what we're aiming for here with the size of our batons as well. All right. Roughly. You don't have to have your ruler out. But once we have our sticks, we're doing the same thing we did with our shallot, turn it perpendicular, and then just moving down here at a 1/4 of an inch interval to get our dice out of it. So Lori, what do you think of Kanara's whole Twitch venture over there? Since you've known her the longest. Was this something you saw coming? Or did this kind of catch you by surprise? Woo! There we go. How often do you have to sharpen your chef's knife? Curtis, that is a fantastic question from over here on Tastemade. Thank you for that. It depends really on how often you use your knife. You know, if your knife is getting dull, I typically sharpen mine once a month, maybe once every 2 months if I'm neglecting them. you know? And sharpening is different from honing. So when you use when you sharpen, use a whetstone. When you hone, use a steel. So this is like, okay, it really needs a new edge. I'd have to do some real knife maintenance. And while honing is just kind of a bring it back in line measure. You might hone your knife every other time you use it just to straighten it out, whereas you're creating a new edge with the whetstone. Does it make sense? So sharpen once a month, once every 2 months, or whenever you feel that your knife is too dull for you to use, and then honing just to sharpen it back up right before you use it. Good question, though. Thank you very much. All right, we've got our celery, we've got our carrots, we've got our celery, we've got our shallots down here in our mise en place. Now we have to move on to our carrots. So let's come back down here to the board. We're going to peel our carrots down. Again, these are not parsnips, these are yellow carrots. If using fresh herbs instead of dried, do you use the same amount or do you need to adjust? Hover, that is also a great question. So whenever you're using dried herbs, you're going to use less than if you were using fresh, and vice versa. So if you're using fresh herbs, you would up the amount versus the dried herb that's listed in the recipe. Because all the water is taken out of your herbs, and so the flavor is much more concentrated and intense. Whereas you might use a teaspoon of dried basil, you might need a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of fresh basil to get that same punch inside of your dish. Okay. Honing has felt very temporary to me. Suppose I need to get a whetstone. Yeah, and you can pick up a whetstone fairly cheaply online. You don't have to have all these crazy like sharpening systems. I'm not saying they don't work. It's just that most people don't take it that seriously, and you'll be able to do what you need to do with a regular whetstone. Whetstone, little mineral oil. All right, so we've got our carrots right here, everybody. I'm just going to cut these into rondelles. They're about 1/4 of an inch thick. Rondelles, little rounds. I can get one more out of this. Woo! All right. Oh, whoa, come here. Trying to run away on me. If you're just joining us here on the channel, everybody, welcome to Ingrediology's Wednesday Weeknight Dinner. We're making biscuit-topped chicken pot pie this afternoon. We're on step 8, where we're working on the mise en place for our veggies. What are you guys making for dinner tonight, if you're not making chicken pot pie? Next, I'm going to mince up my herbs that we're going to be putting into the gravy. So I have some fresh rosemary and some fresh thyme right here. The thyme's not going to need minced, but the rosemary definitely will. And then the only dried herb that I'm going to be using this afternoon is this whole leaf oregano that I've already measured out in our ramekin. There we go. Is the music at a good level for you guys? Can you hear me just fine? All right, Lloyd, good. All right. Now here at the base, I want to make sure I don't have any woody parts of our stem hanging out with the rosemary. Sometimes if you pull it off too violently, it'll take with it some of that woody part. You don't want to incorporate that in the herbs that you're using. I'm making chicken pot pie topped with rosemary biscuits. What a coincidence. What a coincidence, Curtis. Music's great. Good. Thank you, Paige. Just want to make sure that you guys can understand me over everything. The volume's a little bit different in my headset. It's a little loud, to be honest, so I want to make sure it wasn't the same for you. Could even give the music a small bump. All right. There we go. Hell yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to take my fresh rosemary and put it in the same ramekin that I have my dried oregano in, and then we're just going to pluck our thyme leaves into that same ramekin. I'm going to take these smaller sprigs of thyme off so it's easy for me to pluck them. Show you guys a quick trick with this. So we have our sprig of thyme. Now if you want to get the leaves off this easily, just grasp at the top and then pull in the opposite direction that the leaves are growing off the stem at. I got some bigger stems pulled off of that because that was the main one. We're just going to do that with all of these, okay? Boop, boop, boop. Come off real easy. Those sound effects, you got to make sound effects while you're cooking. Otherwise the food won't taste right. Just checking what our next step is, everybody. I want to make sure I'm anticipating everything as it comes along. 23 steps in total here for this meal this afternoon. We're 45 minutes in. We're on track. We've already got our biscuit dough done. We're almost finished with our mies. It's going to be time here to move to the stove and get our mirepoix sauteing. So make sure you have that cast iron skillet ready to go over on the stove. You can also use a heavy bottom stainless steel skillet if you guys like. You see I've got some butter in a small sauce pot there on the back burner, and that's because we're going to be melting that butter after the biscuits and everything is baked together. We'll be brushing the tops of our biscuits with melted butter, all right? Just, you know, just to finish it off right. Pew, pew, pew. I pretend like I'm the Starship Enterprise while I'm cooking. I haven't even taken 23 steps today. Get out of here, Randy. All right. Got our fresh thyme leaves plucked over here. Let's get this gathered up and added to the rest of our herbs. And then step 9, everyone, is going to be preheating our oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. But we're not going to do that yet because, you know, I forgot to cut the garlic. So here's the garlic. I was saving this to the last step because garlic's so sticky. It gets all over everything. I usually save it as the last thing if I'm working on some mise en place. That makes sense? We have our garlic cloves, skin on still. We're gonna take and put our knife gently over the top, and then just with the heel of our hand, give it a gentle pop. We're gonna do that to all 3 of our cloves. Oh, you turned into 2 cloves, didn't you? All right. We're not trying to smash it into oblivion, guys. We just wanna give it a gentle pop so the skin breaks off the outside and is easily removed. Easily removed. Did you not hear me? I was talking to the garlic there. Like you do. Okay. So, we still have the root end on the bottom of our garlic right here, which we're going to thinly cut, just like we did with our shallot. To remove that, we'll give each of these cloves a second smash to flatten them out even further, making them easier to cut up. And then we're just mincing. Mince, mince, mince till the cows come home. All right. Pieces the size of a grain of rice. Guys, if you'd like to make this later on, or you can go back and watch the VOD and everything, but you'll also need the class guide, so at ! Recipe in chat. That'll take you over to our website. We got everything set up for you. Laid it out real simple. And if you haven't followed us on our other social channels, I'd really appreciate it. Go over to our Instagram, follow us on YouTube. We have a Facebook page that we stream out live to. And if you're a Twitch user, you can follow us on Twitch. If I happen to catch you on YouTube, Facebook, or Tastemade, and you have Twitch, you haven't heard of me, this is where you hear about me. That's very unlikely in my mind, but it could happen. Could happen. All right, minced garlic can go off to the side in a ramekin, which means we have everything meased up, ready to go. And now, step 9. You need to preheat that oven, okay? 425 degrees Fahrenheit, everybody. Okay, so our oven is preheating. Let's move on to step 10. We're gonna saute the mirepoix in that cast iron pan that I was talking about earlier. So let's go over here to the stove, and we are going to turn our heat to high just to bring this pan up quickly, okay? We don't want it to be riding on high the entire time, but we do want it to heat up quickly, especially since I'm using a cast iron, which can be slow to heat up, but is very good at retaining the heat that it gets. We're gonna take it up, and then we'll turn the heat down to medium, add a little bit of oil, and we're gonna begin by adding in our carrots, onion, and celery, AKA mirepoix. We talked about this a little bit earlier. You guys can see spelled on the screen right there, mirepoix. That's how you spell that. All right, give my knife a rinse too. I've backed up the camera today from the stove. Last time we went out when we did our churros class last week, the camera overheated because it was too close to the stove, so we're trying to avoid that today. Hopefully we do. All right. While we're waiting for that to come up to temperature, I'm gonna measure out my chicken stock and make sure I got 5 cups and everything that I pulled out this afternoon. I know this is a 4-cup measure. And we got 4, so good thing I pulled out that extra bag because we're gonna need it, okay? So I'll open that up when it comes time to add our stock into the gravy. Okay, how hot are we? All right, we're getting there. Let's get a little oil in the pan. Just a tablespoon of oil will be fine. All right, our pan's getting pretty hot, so I'm just gonna drop the heat preemptively here down to medium, especially with this cast iron skillet. I mentioned earlier, everybody, that cast iron is very good at retaining heat. So if we overheat our pan and we just shoot way past, we're smoking our oil, things are burning as you're adding them in within like 10 seconds. If we shoot past that prime or optimal temperature, it takes a very long time for it to come back and cool down to a good temperature where you can saute in again. That's why I just want to kind of creep up to this. Start out high, bring it up to like a medium, and then turn it down and leave it at medium, all right? Anybody drinking? Is anybody imbibing here while they're enjoying the class this afternoon? I just finished my La Croix, and I need another drink. Ooh, I've got some Peroni. Tasty. Cheers. Salut. Slancha. Chin chin. Now, sautéing is a high heat cooking method, everybody, but we're not looking to get color on the outside of our veggies here this afternoon. We're not looking to brown any of this. We just want to sweat all this out, begin to soften up our carrots, and then after we've gone maybe 2-3 minutes in the pan, our shallots have lost their raw purpleness, they're more translucent. Same with our celery, it's going to appear less green. Then we'll add in our garlic as well as our bay leaf. And then we'll cook that out for another minute until our garlic's fragrant, at which point we'll add in our 2 tablespoons of butter. Now once that butter's melted, we're gonna immediately add in another 3 tablespoons of flour, and then that will make a roux. It'll mix in with the vegetables and everything. For this, you're gonna want yourself a high heat spatula. So that rubber spatula that I mentioned earlier, grab that, pull it out, make sure you got it on hand, because that's what we're gonna be using to saute with. And then we'll talk about the roux when we get there, but just so you guys are moving with me, you know what's coming next, right? We hot? Not quite. Not quite. Give it another 30 seconds and then we'll throw in our veggies. You want your oil to be heated up. There should be a sizzle when your veggies go into the pan. If there isn't, your oil's too cold. Like I said, sautéing is a high heat cooking method. That means it's hot when you start. All right, listen for that sizzle. There you go. And we're off to the races, everybody. Man, it already smells good. I love the smell of mirepoix. And we're gonna keep this moving, all right? So grab that rubber spatula. For those of you cooking along with me this afternoon, make sure that you have your 2 tablespoons of butter as well as your 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour measured out. There's not going to be a lot of time to switch those over and you know, measure out all your stuff, because this is rolling. We're working right now, okay? Just taking my heat down a skosh. I'm feeling a little hot up here on medium, so 5% below medium is where I've switched to. And by keeping this moving, I'm preventing any browning from taking place. You don't want things to sit too long in the same spot, right? And y'all are quiet today. I'm sorry if that's my fault, because I'm so bad at reacting in the moment to chat. I miss you. I also do this in the middle of the business day too, so people might be joining when they should be working. Let's hit this with a pinch of salt at this point. If you season every step of the way, you won't have to backload all your seasoning at the end. All right, guys, so you see what I'm talking about here in the pan? Let me give you a close-up shot. So see how our shallots are starting to lose that raw purpleness that they had when we first cut them? Same with our celery, it's becoming a little bit less bright and vibrantly green than when you first cut it as well. That means this is starting to cook. That's a good signifier of where you're at here in the cooking process. The carrots themselves are starting to take on a little bit more of a translucence to them. They're not raw and opaque anymore. Let's get this stirred. Again, no color, no color. Looks like in that explanation I didn't move it enough, so I got a little bit of color. With this having been in the pan for about 3 minutes, oh my goodness, who we got coming in? Mrs. Ruby. Mrs. Ruby, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you so much. You're amazing. Raiders, welcome into the channel. If you've not joined us before, my name's Logan. I'm a chef out of Denver, Colorado. Today, we're making biscuit top chicken pot pie. Mrs. Ruby, I saw that you were online earlier and you're just kind of making whatever you could find in your fridge. What did you end up coming out with? Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard of Mrs. Ruby's before, she's my favorite Hoosier here on Twitch. I think I got in trouble last time I said that because there's more people from Indiana than I realized. But a fellow Hoosier, meaning Indiana born, here in chat, you should definitely give her a follow. She's got a beautiful family, makes amazing recipes, and a really supportive and loving community. So thanks again so much for coming in, guys. I'm sorry I can't talk too long. We got to get our garlic in the pan. Huh. Just a minute here on the garlic. Bay leaf can go in too. Guys, if you'd like to make this along with me at home, you can hit !recipe in chat, and that'll take you to our website where we've got everything you're going to need to recreate this, whether you're using the VOD or you're cooking along with us live. There's an equipment list, there's the recipe, which is very, very functional. You can use it in US or in metric. You can change the serving sizes, has the nutritional information. It even functions as a grocery list with check boxes, so you can just open the web page of the grocery store and use it there. Really handy. But how is Luis and the kids, Ms. Ruby? All right, butter needs to go in. This is going to be the first step in making our roux, everyone. We're adding in our butter. A roux, R-O-U-X, is a thickening agent. It's going to add body to our gravy. So it's equal parts butter or other kinds of fat. If you'd like to use that, you could use Crisco, coconut oil, olive oil, whatever you want. But it's equal parts butter and flour by weight, okay? By weight is important, not by volume, which is why we have 3 tablespoons of AP flour right here, along with 2 tablespoons of butter in the pan. Once our butter is fully melted, we're going to add in our flour. And the point of doing this here in the pan is to cook the rawness out of our flour. There's 3 different types of roux. There's a white, a blonde, and a brown roux. And just remember, the longer you cook a roux, the more flavor it has. So a brown roux is much more flavorful than a white roux, but a white roux has more thickening power. Okay, so you're going to have to use more brown roux to achieve the same consistency or viscosity in whatever sauce or soup that you're making. Flour goes in. Man, is chat like shut down here over in Restream? I didn't see any chats after the raid came in. Okay, yeah, I am missing chats. Luis is the one who rated you, Logan. Thank you, CB. I appreciate you. Luis, thank you. Thanks for being here. Hello, hello. I'm sorry, I'm taken with this roux that we got going here in the pan. So a roux is going to have the consistency of wet sand, everybody. And we're just going to give this another 30 seconds to cook out. That means that we are on step 11, right? Add garlic and bay leaf. After 2 minutes, cook for 1 minute. We already did that. Number 12, we add the butter to the pan, melt, and then we just add the flour to make the roux, which means our next step here is going to be pouring in our chicken broth and whisking out any lumps, all right? So we're going to add in our chicken broth all at once. That's 5 cups of chicken broth. And you're going to want to make sure you have that whisk on hand so we can get rid of any lumps that might occur here in our gravy. Here comes our first 4 cups we've already measured out. My own homemade chicken broth. I gotta open up this bag and do 1 more cup. Okay. Going in. Bam. Excellent. Oh, almost knocked my thing off there. Okay, cool. So for whatever reason, I had lots of trouble making a roux. Well, you know, so what was the issue? Can you characterize it for me, Deep Space? All right, everybody, it's at this point that you can turn your heat up above that medium that we were sauteing at, because what we need to do to activate a roux is bring whatever liquid that we've combined it with to a simmer. So we're just gonna get little bubbles going on in here. Again, I'm using this whisk to break up any lumps. A lot of those lumps can occur around the vegetables because it tends to tie them together. So just make sure that you're whisking this thoroughly. I'm also going to add in a little bit more salt here at this point. Logan, what if I didn't have shortening What if instead of using 6 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons shortening, I just use 8 tablespoons of butter? That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Now, for the shortening, it's actually, I believe it's 3 tablespoons of shortening, just so we're on the same page. Let me double check for you. Yeah, 3 tablespoons of vegetable shortening. So you're gonna be using 9 tablespoons of butter all day. All right. Whisk, 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 whisk. Whisk, 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 whisk. Now you see how watery our sauce is right now, or gravy, whatever you want to term this. Basically chicken stock. You'll see that as we come to a simmer, it'll begin to thicken, get more viscous, okay? It needs that simmering action to do so. Now we also have this little bit of butter over here in the small sauce pot. I'm gonna turn this on low just to melt the butter. Remember, this butter that's in the sauce pot, we're gonna be taking and brushing on our biscuits after everything has been baked and come out of the oven, all right? So that's just gonna be sitting over there, melted. Make sure you don't leave it on. All right, a little bit of salt. Nice 3-finger pinch of salt. Let's grate some black pepper in here. And then we also need to add in our herbs, which I believe is our next step. So let's go to step 14, because I believe I'm doing it. Season with herbs, salt, and pepper. Like a half teaspoon of fresh cracked black pepper. Maybe a titch more salt. And then if you're just joining us, guys, what we have in this measuring cup is fresh thyme, fresh rosemary, a teaspoon of each, and then half a teaspoon of dried oregano leaves. In the recipe that's listed on our website, you would be using all dried versions of these herbs. I just happen to have some fresh laying around, and I thought I'd use it. Oh, oven's preheated. That's what that beeping is. So we can go with our herbs. And then we need to add in our peas. Ooh, that's a little high. All right. We're gonna take that down. Whoa. Peas, and then the final ingredient we're gonna be adding here for our simmer is gonna be the chicken itself. So this is the breasts, so 2 breasts of a rotisserie chicken that we just picked up at Sam's Club before we started the class. We're gonna add this in. Keeping our heat on like a medium-low. We're just gonna let it simmer out for 10 minutes, allow our gravy to thicken up real nice, real nice. Okay, starting this recipe shortly. I don't think my wife picked up shortening. Heard. It's no worries. Like I said, you can sub out the butter and you're gonna be totally fine, CB. Where'd my beer go? Here we go. Guys having a good time? Keeping up? Taste made? We doing well? Okay. So after step 15, we are going to get started on our biscuits. That's gonna be step 16 here in our biscuit top chicken pot pie. We already made our biscuit dough at the top of the class. Again, recipes on the website. We kneaded it together till it just came together. We wrapped it in plastic wrap, and then we've been chilling it in the cooler for the past 30 minutes. That's just to firm up the fats that are spread throughout there, that butter and that shortening, to give it a chance to solidify a little bit better. So when it rolls out, our dough doesn't become too sticky. Make sense? We don't want those fats to run. It's like pie dough in that way. Now, our next step here with the biscuit dough, hello biscuit dough, rosemary infused biscuit dough, hell yeah. The next step here is gonna be laminating our dough. If you've ever made puff pastry, that's a laminated dough. And what I mean by laminating is taking and rolling out and then folding back in on itself, turning, rolling out again, folding it in thirds back in on itself and rolling out. That's laminating. So we're gonna do that 3 times here with our biscuit dough before we roll it out for a final time to 1-inch thickness, at which point we'll be cutting out our rounds. Get myself a little bit of bench flour here. Just some flour that I can reach into and sprinkle over the dough as needed. This is not part of the recipe. I didn't want to throw people off with like 2 1/3 cups of flour, but then also 3 more tablespoons for bench flour. Okay. We're just gonna dust the top of our dough. Dust the board lightly. Grab your rolling pin. Hup. Dust that as well. Knife can go off to the side here. We're not going to need that. And we're just going to roll this out like a 1/2 inch thick. And then we're going to fold it back in on itself. Turn it. And then we're going to roll it out again. Now, I might have to get in here with the iPhone camera so that you can see these streaks that I'm talking about. These visible streaks of fat that are all throughout our dough. You see what I'm talking about? Like the swirls, the discoloration. That's different concentrations of our butter and shortening throughout our dough right there. All right? Does that make sense? I hope that makes it a little clearer for you guys. There we go. So then this goes into thirds. We're gonna turn it and roll it out for the lamination one last time. I'm drooling, thank you, Paige. How's he making biscuits? Somebody help us. Arbitrator, welcome to the stream. Can I get a shout out for Arbitrator06, our favorite Gator Wrestling Louisiana streamer here on the platform? Oh, you've been good, RB. Happy Wednesday to you, my friend. We're making rosemary biscuits for our biscuit top chicken pot pie. And don't be coming in here with that BS like white people can't make biscuits, okay? I want to hear it. My biscuits are delicious. What's up, baby? He got dropped off in his cage. He'll be in his cage at the back. All right. Whoop. Let's do another flour here. A little dusting on the outside of our dough. Then we're gonna dust this down. Kyle, we got a date night in. Sorry if I scared everybody. Date night in is here, everybody. Woo woo! Guys, make sure that you're following a date night in over on her channel. A lovely friend of Ingrediologies. An amazing person in general. Love you, Kyle. I hope everything's going well for you. Happy Wednesday. All right, now we're gonna roll out our dough to 1 inch in thickness, everybody. And we're gonna cut our biscuits out of the top. How is our gravy doing over on the stove? Simmering away nicely. Gonna make sure we're not sticking on the bottom of the pan anywhere. Guys, it is smelling so fragrant here in the kitchen. Wop, wop, wop. Wop, wop, wop. Da, da, da. These look legit. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate you. Back here with our biscuits, everybody. Why are you stereotyping, bro? I didn't say it. I know you were thinking it. I know what you're thinking, RB. All right, I'm gonna get one of my little metal rounds out here. I don't know, how big is this? I don't have my one of the measuring. Anyways, if you don't have metal rounds like this, guys, you can totally just use a glass that you have in your cabinet, a measuring cup, whatever, just to punch out a circle that's 3 to 4 inches wide, okay? Now we want to be as economical as possible here with our biscuits. Boop. Don't just go punch, 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 punch. Take a second, line it up, make the most efficient use out of your dough that you can. Have as little left over as possible. Waste not, want not. Boop. Now we can gather up this dough that's going to be left over and roll it out for a couple more biscuits. That shouldn't be too much trouble. How is everyone at your house, Logan? Well, everyone's doing fine, except for Kipling. Our cat is at the vet today. He's having to have some dental work done, so he wasn't too happy about that when we dropped him off this morning. But Remy is sleeping well through the night. Megan is killing it at her job. The grandparents are loving life out here in Colorado. And I'm good. I'm doing great. Things are lovely. Oof, the worst? What? How thick is the final dough for the biscuits? Andy, that's a fantastic question. We rolled this back out to about 1 inch in thickness here on our biscuit dough. All right, and I'm just recombining those leftovers that we had, and I'm gonna roll this back out. Again, trying to work with this as little as possible. We're not trying to develop gluten here in our biscuits. And that's what would happen by mechanically kneading our dough. I can get 2 more biscuits out of this. I can do it. All right, 1, 2. And I bet I can just make a biscuit out of this. You're quite welcome, Annie. Thank you so much for chiming here in chat. That's a great question. I really appreciate you. Ha 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 ha. Look at that. That's all the dough we wasted. Fantastic. Okay. That can go over here. We can get rid of this tray. And we're nearing the end here, everybody. We're getting close to just having to bake this in the oven. At which point, I'm just gonna have to talk with you and you need to talk back to me. And I will slowly get less sober in front of your eyes. When you repack your dough, is the lamination effect still present? Yes. The lamination is just creating layers of that fat all throughout your dough. It's taking it and stretching that out, and it actually helps to create those layers of flaky biscuits that you see. And then we're not gonna lose that due to repacking them. The thing I'm most concerned about when I'm taking and I'm reshaping these extra leftovers of dough is, again, creating gluten, making the biscuits tougher because we've developed the gluten by working and reworking. And the second factor would be heating up the fats so that they're no longer in pockets. The more mixed in the fat is, if you can't even see those visible streaks, the less flaky your biscuits are gonna be. What happens is, as your biscuits are baking, those little pockets of butter and shortening, they melt. And butter's 2 things. Butter's oil and butter's milk solids, which is a liquid. So those milk solids, they evaporate and they make a little pocket inside of your biscuit. And that adds to the flakiness, while the butter, the oils and everything just gets in there and greases everything up and makes it all delicious, okay? And if there aren't very defined seams of that fat throughout your biscuit dough, then that's not gonna happen as well. Make sense? I hope so. Type faster, Joel. Joel, welcome to the stream, my friend. Happy Wednesday to you. Guys, make sure you're following Type Faster Joel over on his channel. He's a lovely, lovely pianist. I'm glad that you're here, my friend. Yeah, just hang out in his stream, relax to some awesome tunes. I love his setup. His stream is so cool. Oh, roll the dough to 1 inch in thickness. Annie, that would have helped you if I would keep up with my recipe steps. I just get so lost in what I'm doing. And then cut biscuits out from the dough. That was step 18. And then our next step, since we've already got our biscuit dough cut, we're gonna layer these biscuits on top of the pan that we have our chicken pot pie filling in over here on the stove that's simmering away. And then we're gonna bake it in the oven for 20 minutes, all right? Once they come out of the oven, then we're gonna take that butter that we have melting in that small sauce pot above our chicken filling, and we're gonna brush that butter over the top of our biscuits. As a matter of fact, I better turn off that butter. I don't want brown butter on top of my biscuits. Oh, this is actually a perfect demonstration of what I just talked about, everybody. So you know how I said that butter is 2 things? It's oil and it's milk solids? Well, that white stuff that you see floating around on the top of our butter, those are the milk solids. All right, that's the liquid part of your butter. Butter's an emulsion, much like ranch dressing. It has both oil and liquid components to it, okay? So when you make clarified butter or ghee, you remove those milk solids, which allows your butter to have a much higher smoking point. Because at lower temperatures, those milk solids are gonna burn before the oil can heat up. Well, it's gonna burn your milk solids at a lower temperature. Whereas if they're not present, your oil that remains from the butter, that ghee, can get to a much higher temperature. You can fry in it. Is there water at all in butter? Yes, there is water from the milk solids. Mr. Fabrizio, howdy, those earbuds are not fire, but I would cop, no cap. You should cop these, okay? These are Bose headphones. They're like noise canceling. They hook up with my computer and my phone. They're really nice, actually. All right. So I'll be throwing shade on my ear gauges. Somebody came in and thought they were gauges in my earlobes a while back. I thought that was pretty funny. All right, we gotta stir up our gravy here. You see how this is thickened? We're almost at what I would call a nappe consistency. The thickening is coming from the roux that we cooked out here in our gravy earlier. Nappe. What do I mean by nappe? Nappe refers to the viscosity of your sauce. So if I can take this and it coats the back of a spoon, and I swipe my finger through it and it holds that channel, that's a nappe consistency. We're looking a little bit of thin. A little thin. You can see some of the sauce running down right here, and it's not adhering super well to the back of the spoon. So we're just going to continue to simmer this out until we've achieved that nappe consistency. What are you guys up to? Huh? Just watching you to make you look like an alien with some sort of sonar system. Canadian Relief Benefit, what's up? I swear I pressed the space bar. Are you impressed at how mayo is made? Impressed at how it's made? I mean, I guess. You can make like a gallon of mayo with like one egg yolk. So what is creating that emulsion inside of mayonnaise and inside your dressings and whatnot, if it has egg yolks in it, is a protein known as lecithin. You may have heard of soy lecithin as an additive in certain commercial food products. It's a binding agent. So what lecithin does as a molecule is it grabs water molecules and it grabs fat molecules and it binds them together, right? And there's enough lecithin contained in an egg yolk that you could add like a gallon of oil to it, and it will emulsify the whole thing, which is pretty gross. I'm still working, so I'll be lurky turkey. Heard that, Joel. Well, thanks for just being here. Again, guys, make sure you're following Joel. I appreciate your lurk. Lurky turkey. Ah. Okay. Chicken gravy, chicken gravy. Chicken gravy, chicken gravy. Where are you? Chicken gravy, how do you do? Do you like that? I know you do. Actually, while I'm waiting for this to come into thickness, and if you're doing the same thing as me at home, go ahead and grab a spoon. Let's taste this. Let's make sure that we've got this balance. There's enough salt in it. Our herbs are coming through. And maybe a little bit more salt. Throw that in. Okay, everybody, I am happy with the thickness of our chicken gravy that we got going on right there, so it's time to top this with our biscuits. Now again, at this point in the class, you should have your oven preheated. 425 degrees Fahrenheit, guys. I'm just gonna arrange my biscuits around the top of my gravy right here. Kind of like a chicken and dumplings recipe, really. Make sure you're trying to keep the tops dry. We get a nice crispiness to the top of our biscuits. Shit, I say that and then look what happens. Híjole, no mames, güey. Ay, ay, ay. All right, into the oven we go. 425 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 minutes, everybody. And we're in. Jess Josie, welcome. If I can't have peas, what vegetable would you suggest as a replacement? That's a good question. Do you like edamame? I mean, that's kind of the closest I can think of to peas, and you'll get a little extra added protein in there. But you can mix this up with all sorts of different vegetables. What are your favorites? So I feel like parsnips. We can add in carrots and parsnips to this. Good root vegetables like celery root would be great. Rutabaga would be awesome. You could, what else we got? Some good veggies. You do leeks instead of onions. Yeah. Do you like parsnips or rutabagas or celeriac? Josie? We gotta customize this for your taste right here. Oh, hey Siri, set a timer for 20 minutes. There we go. All right, so we baked it. We've melted our butter. So that's, well, we already talked about that. Our butter is melted over here. There we go. Great suggestions, thank you. Love them all, fantastic, that's amazing. Kanara, thank you so much for coming over, my dear. Raiders, welcome to the stream. My name is Logan. This is Ingrediology. I'll let Captain Picard finish. Engage. Kanara, I know you love that Star Trek drop that we have on the raids. Raiders, welcome in. My name is Logan. I'm a chef instructor out in Denver, Colorado, and I host Ingrediology every Wednesday here on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Tastemade. If you guys are familiar with Tastemade, it's a fantastic food website. And you should go follow me on all of those platforms. But Kanara, how did your Russian bread turn out, my dear? Was that lovely? I'm sure it was, because you're making it. I made the lame joke in chat earlier of, in Russia, bread needs you. I know. Listen, I'm a new dad. I'm working on the terribleness of my jokes. We can go worse, okay? We can go worse. But how'd everything go, guys? So yummy and perfect crumb. Awesome. Awesome. I love it. So yeah, today, everybody, we're making a biscuit-topped chicken pot pie. We actually just got our pot pie in the oven. Let's see. Let's see if I can give you a shot of this right here. Nope. 6. Let's zoom out a skosh. There we go. You can't see it real well. I got a dirty oven window here. I don't want to open it. Our biscuits are starting to puff, and I don't want to mess that up. Anyways. Welcome. You guys want to see the setup? This is the control center. The main brain here at Ingrediology. You guys are awesome for raiding in today. What's everybody making for dinner this evening? Elliot, what are you doing, you old so-and-so? Elliot Eats, thank you for making our show possible. Guys, make sure you're following both Kanara over on her channel and Elliot Eats, two amazing food and drink streamers here on Twitch. You guys are great. Elliot, what have you been up to, man? I've not seen you in forever. And thank you for the sub, my friend. I hate it here. Don't follow me. Yes, you should definitely be following Elliot Eats over there. Guys, we're in a bit of a lull right now. We just put our chicken pot pie in the oven to bake our biscuits off the top, and we gotta hang out for like 18 minutes, okay? So you need to entertain me. That's what this is about. You think I'm here to entertain you? Never listen to anything this man says. He is a liar. Not about Elliot. Not about Elliot, though. Just went in the oven. We got a nice, lengthy Logan show going on today, baby. So, Elliot, are you going to go to TwitchCon? How many people are going to TwitchCon? Can everyone sound off in chat? Because I'm looking to get plans together with people. Every 30 seconds or so, the sound drops out for about 5 seconds. Sarah, thank you for the heads up. I don't know what that could be from. Guys, are you seeing that on Twitch's end? Twitch, YouTube, Facebook? No? No sound issues? Okay, heard. Sarah, I'll go back and I'll watch the VOD here on Tastemade and see if I can pin down the issue. Thank you for making me aware of it. I appreciate it. Anyways, we're talking about TwitchCon. So Elliot's going to TwitchCon. Kanara, are you going to be going to TwitchCon? I want to meet all these lovely Twitch friends that I've made here over the past 2 years. in person. I know there's some people that are going in on a house together. They're renting like an Airbnb or something for the week. It's taking place like the first or second week of October. It's like the second weekend in October, I think. Yeah, I'm going because it's south of me. We get an Airbnb, I bring down my PC and equipment, and we do collab streams all weekend long. Yeah, that's the thing. Like if we were getting a house and I was gonna be there for 3 or 4 days, do I bring my setup? Or is that just gonna be too big of a pain to haul like the PC, 5 cameras, all the cables, plus microphones and stuff that it takes to like set this up? I don't know if I wanna move it. You bring yours? All right, we'll just switch stream keys, Elliot. 10.7 through 10.9, and everyone can use mine? Okay, all right. Dude, we're gonna have like the best house because it's just gonna be all food and drink streamers coming in and out on a rotating basis. We should just make it a 24-hour stream and then get people to sign up for slots. Hey, there's Kate. Guys, let's get a shout out for Irish Kate as well. Kate, how you doing? How you keeping? Logan, I'm so sorry, man. I should have listened to this part better. Just realized my wife bought fresh herbs. What did you say specifically about using fresh over dry and the measurement changes? So I would use 2 to 3 times as much by volume fresh as you would compared to dry. Dry herbs are just gonna be a little bit more concentrated because all the water's evaporated out of them, so you have to use less to get the same impact and flavor, all right? So if we're using like a teaspoon of thyme, I'm just pulling this out of my butt, I should look at the recipe, but a teaspoon of dried thyme, do 2 or maybe 3 teaspoons of fresh thyme, all right? I hope that helps. Why is there no spaces? What are you talking about, no spaces? What are you talking about? There's no spaces, Kate. Anyways, you guys want to be cool and get your own hotel room? Yeah, I know. So Kate, who should be staying with us at our Airbnb, is not. She's like, I think Bark and I are just going to get a hotel room, blah, 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 blah. What the hell, Kate? You need to stay with us. I don't know. I'm not for sure if we're going to get an Airbnb or not either. It's out in San Diego. So it's either Airbnb or I get a hotel room and stay by myself, or, you know, Kevin, you could pack up the RV and we could go to an RV resort down in San Diego. Bring the whole family, pack everybody up. Makes me think of the Beverly Hillbillies theme song. All of us packing up. San Diego, nice cheap real estate down there. I know, right? I have been pricing out the Airbnb stuff, and for a weekend in October, because I didn't know exactly when the dates were gonna be, but for a weekend in October, it was probably, I mean, sleeping 8 people, that's what I was like, okay, if we have 4 couples, we bring 4 streamers in, and everybody gets their own bedroom, then we're looking at like $2,200 for the weekend or something. But again, that'd be split like 4 ways. So, I don't know. I'm just bougie. I like staying in nice places. I'm not going out to San Diego to stay in a cardboard box during TwitchCon, okay? I'm gonna be streaming in style, baby. I know that Chef Negan is getting a house together as well. Dude, we can get an Airbnb for nearly $200 a night, give or take the split across 2 or 3 people. All right, well, Elliot, let's jump on Discord and have a little chat. When are you gonna play some Halo with me again, man? Played like Halo with me once with your dumb cat ears, and then you never played again. With peace and love, I need quiet time. I get it. I get that, Kate. I know. I totally recognize and appreciate your truth because it would be a lot if we have Kyle, Elliot, me in the same house. I'm not trying to do a shit place. The bigger properties aren't as close to the venue, but the closer ones are limited to 2-3 bedroom tops, right? Because it's downtown in San Diego. Yeah, my phone was auto-correcting everything and removing spaces in all of my sentences. That's weird. Yeah, can we find some place with like a pool? You know, that'd be great. I actually have never been to San Diego. I hear it's very Mediterranean in climate. Is this you telling us that Cerise is cramping your style after one day, right? Yeah. I'll try not to take this personally, Kate. All right? I'm trying real hard. By the way, when are you coming out to Colorado? Huh? Are you going to... Yeah, Tef is coming out here at the beginning of April. Tef's going to be staying with me for 4 days? He's coming like Friday through a Monday. And we're going to hang out. He's already requested buttermilk pancakes, braised beef short ribs, and we're trying to plan out the rest of his menu. So guys, what else should we make for Tef while he's out here? Guys, for those of you who don't know who Tef is one of the first people who followed me on Twitch like over 2 years ago, and he's been a moderator for us like since then. And yeah, he's just a really, really great friend, good guy. He's from Denmark. He's never been to the United States before. He's planning his first trip. He's gonna make a 2-week tour around the United States. He's coming to me from South Carolina. I don't know where else he plans to go. I'm sure we'll talk about it as it gets closer. But yeah, what else should we make like American stuff? Things he might not have eaten. I will come to Colorado the day after Tef leaves. Elliot still holds a grudge against Tef because Tef muted him in a chat one time. Whoa, what's going on? My sister used to live in San Diego, said it was hard to move away because it's paradise. Yeah, I've heard it's very, very cool. Is you telling me I know San Diego well. I am looking at different places, also talking with real estate friends who know about rentals that may be able to support a streamer house for the weekend. We are having the best time. We binge watched Martha Stewart earlier. Wait, are you with Cerise right now, Kate? Did you visit Cerise? When are you coming out to Colorado? Huh? When are we booking this trip? Damn. KC Barbecue is well worth the price of admission. Thank you, Snake Eye, for banning Elliot in the chat. I appreciate you. Streamer house, in case we want bigger and better with more rooms and streamers, or we just do bad boys. I mean, if a spot opens up and someone's got like a mansion that they're renting out for the weekend and we're gonna put like 10, 12 people in the house, whatever, I'll sleep on a couch, I'll have a bedroom, whatnot. As long as there's a mansion, as long as it's got a nice kitchen and we're gonna be streaming from there the entire time. Oh, she flew to Texas, Kate. She flew to Texas, picked her up yesterday, and we went straight to Buc-ee's. What is Buc-ee's? Is that a Texas thing? How are you more American than I am already, Kate? You've only been in the United States for like a month. I don't know, we'll Discord about it later when you aren't taking care of your kid. I mean, good luck with that. It's kind of a 24/7 job. Megan's gonna be going on a business trip next week. She's going to San Diego, and they're having like a retreat for some of the directors at DaVita, and she's gonna be gone for 4 days. So out of this deal, she said that I could buy a new pair of Nikes since I'll be watching the baby not by myself, because we still got Kevin and Kathy, right? You know, but since she's gonna be gone, she feels guilty enough that she says I can go have a spree at the Nike store. So that's gonna happen. Who we have just follow? Thank you so much for the follow, Gail. And Gail, thank you so much for being here. Gail, I think we were talking a little bit in Kanara's stream earlier. Did you just wake up from the Raider? You're like, whoa, where am I? I'm in an Ingrediology stream? Okay. Hey, how you doing? I appreciate you following. Thanks for keeping up with us. Gail and I were talking about KitchenAid attachments. I believe specifically we were talking about the paddle attachment that also has the spatula flange on the edge. And you know, since I'm just kind of standing here talking and running out of things to talk about, I'll show you this paddle. So Ann and I, Gail and I both recommend this paddle attachment that has like a silicone flange on the edge of it. What this means is it like cleans the bowl as it's mixing things. So it just goes around and it's like wiping away the edges as it turns. It's very handy. I like this so much better than my regular paddle attachment because I don't have to stop while I'm mixing things and lower the bowl down and then scrape everything down with a spatula and then raise it back up. It just does it for me. I think it was like 20 bucks on Amazon, guys. Probably my favorite attachment for my KitchenAid. Gail Ann. CBS Sunday Morning did a piece on Buc-ee's about 2 weeks ago. Franklin Barbecue in Austin would be a good visit for Tef. Oh, I've actually heard of Franklin. I've heard of Franklin Barbecue, so I'll have to recommend that to him. I don't know if he's going to Texas or not. I know he's in South Carolina, and then he's in Colorado, of course, visiting me. You're getting rewarded for watching your own kid, says Howard. You ever taking care of a baby, Sarah? Fucking hard, okay? Like, in 4 days, you know, it's not gonna be too bad. Like I said, I got plenty of support here with Kevin and Kathy in the house, but look, I wouldn't take any chance that she gives me to go to the Nike store. Shut up. Guys, if you're not familiar, we have a new baby. He's 4 months old last week, so little Remy is just a little boy. That's why we were on break for like October, November, December. I took 3 months full and January of paternity leave off. Yeah, I have. Suck it, Logan. Okay, all right. Sorry. Trying to assume here. I took Aaron Franklin's masterclass. Oh, that's so the pit master Aaron Franklin. That's cool. No, Logan, too bougie for the greatness of Buc-ee's. What is Buc-ee's? Somebody explain to me what Buc-ee's is. Nobody said it. I'm just getting. God damn. Is that how you spell that? B-U-C-E-E? B-E-E. What is it, like a gas station? Buc-ee's is a chain of county stores. Here. Buc-ee's is a chain of country stores and gas stations with locations in Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. Additional locations are currently under development in Colorado, woohoo! Kentucky, Mississippi, Missouri, Tennessee, and South Carolina. So what's so special about Buc-ee's? Kate, this is just like you to take a guest to a gas station. If I remember correctly, back in Ireland, you guys had like a gas station that Barack Obama visited one time. You all turned it into a national monument, right? Am I misremembering this? Yeah, his masterclass is pretty amazing for those who are in a location to own a smoker. I actually do now. That's one thing. So moving into the house, CB, we bought ourselves a nice pellet smoker. So I can now smoke my own ribs and brisket and anything I want to do. It's lovely. So I am in a situation. Better than living in that apartment like I was last year at this time. Oh, no, that's not the story, Logan. So what is the story, Kate? Barack Obama had a sandwich at a Texaco station in Ireland one time, and they've like put up signage all around it. And now you just take all sorts of people to gas stations whenever they visit you. Waybread, how are you, my friend? You know, I was talking about you the other day with Call Me Chef G. Guys, Raiders, welcome into the stream. If you've not joined me before, my name's Logan. I'm a chef out of Denver, Colorado. Today on stream, we're making a biscuit top chicken pot pie. We're currently in a holding pattern, so sorry if you just don't want to sit here and look at my face, but we're baking up these delicious biscuits on top of the pot pie right now. We made our own rosemary biscuits. We made the filling and the gravy with pulled rotisserie chicken meat, peas, carrots, shallots, garlic, thyme, bay leaves, rosemary. We made a roux and added our own homemade chicken stock. So if you'd like to actually make this recipe, maybe come back and watch the VOD later on. This entire class is set up so that you can follow along with it. Go to ingrediology.org or you can just hit !recipes in the chat. And thank you so much for the follows, Cynex Gaming, Waybread. Oh, Waybread, you rated in. Who are our other follows? Guys, we're in the middle of talking about Buc-ee's, which is a gas station, apparently, in Texas that Kate's very proud of, as the native Texan that she is. We're just roasting Kate, okay? But big shout out to Waybread, everybody. This man is a culinary master. He is a trained chef, graduated from the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America, for those uninitiated of you amongst our crowd. And he hosts awesome cooking streams. Waybread, what were you making on stream today, my friend? And biscuits to be made gluten-free. You're gonna have to find your own recipe for that, Josie. I'm sorry, I don't have a gluten-free biscuit recipe. Jigs, welcome in. Kitchen's open. Great to have you here. Only bad things, I hope. Oh, yeah, that's right. We were talking about. I was talking with you about Call Me. I was talking about you with Call Me Chef G. If you're familiar, I think she was acting like you guys know each other. I mean, I act like we know each other, even though we've never talked in person. We've rated each other plenty of times. I can't get you on the phone. But yeah, she's doing something for her birthday in June, and she wants to do some sort of like food trivia game show. So look out for her. She's probably going to be reaching out to you here soon. I've agreed to help out in whatever capacity that I can to make that possible for her here on Twitch. But yeah, you were definitely one of the names that came up. So like I said, look out. All right, I'm trying to catch up with chat here, guys. A lot of stuff just happened. You don't understand the novelty of Buc-ee's. If you visit Texas, you have to go. They do barbecue in store, they have a full bakery, and they do their own jerky, snacks, preserves, merch, and cookware. Cynic says that Buc-ee's is amazing. Cracker Barrel with a gas pump, says Hoversway. Yeah, have you ever been to a Cracker Barrel, Kate? Man, everyone's obsessed with Buc-ee's. Laura Sultan, I missed you earlier. Laura, welcome in. It's great to have you. Happy Wednesday. It has been a while, hasn't it, Laura? Kate's been lurking. She's remodeling her kitchen and everything. Kate, when are you doing regular streams again? Have you been out? Have you been streaming? I just missed the updates. I missed the notifications. I can't explain to people. They are the best gas station ever. Trying to settle into Texas. Yeah, I heard that. Oh, that's 20 minutes. Look at that. Who knew that I could talk for 20 minutes and do absolutely nothing? Everybody. Everybody in chat knew that. Thanks for bearing with me. Oh, that's looking good. Let's get the handy cam here. Ooh. Oh, scheisse. There we go. 6. Haha. Oh my God. Look at that, chat. Get out. Get out. All right, we got to come out of the oven with this. Ooh. Ooh. That is a heavy pan, everybody. Be advised. Oh, this thing just fell. Come here. This is false, everybody. Real men do use recipes. I use recipes all the time. This is just a gift my mom got for me. They probably sell them at Buc-ee's. You can probably find them. I don't know. But look at that. Look at our beautiful biscuit-topped chicken pot pie. I hope that yours looks as good as mine does. Again, everybody, if you're just joining us here on the stream, maybe you came in with some of the amazing raids that fellow streamers gave to us today, you can exclamation point recipe in chat, and that'll take you over to our website. And there's the class guide for this. That has the equipment list, a shopping list. Your recipe can be made into metric or the US, measuring systems. It functions. Oh, it has nutritional information. We put a lot of time into our website. I hope you're getting some good use out of it. It's time, everybody. It is time to brush these with butter. Let's go back to the stove. Let's go back here. I'm hungry now, looking real tasty. Thank you, Annie. They probably sell them at Buc-ee's, Logan. All right, guys, we have our butter that we melted in this pot earlier. We're just gonna take and we're gonna brush this over the top of our biscuits. As if they didn't have enough butter in them already. Oh my goodness. I love this. This is such a hearty, stick to your ribs, comforting, cozy winter meal. Damn! Look at that. Am I good or am I good? I'm gonna need a 2 biscuit serving. Well, you and who was the other person who wanted me to ship them? Spank My Betty. Spank My Betty wanted me to ship her the pot pie. Oh, goodness. Trying to clean this up a little bit over here, guys, so I can take some pictures. Pixar didn't happen, right? Do it for the gram. Sparrow, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you being here. Welcome to Ingrediology. Happy Wednesday to you. We're just finishing off our chicken pot pie that's been topped with these fresh rosemary biscuits. We just removed the pot pie from the oven and we brushed our biscuits here with melted butter. That's step 21 in our recipe. And finally, we gotta let this rest for 5 minutes. We're gonna serve it hot. We gotta enjoy, okay? Oh boy. Paint happy little biscuits. Kelly Cakes, welcome to the stream. It's great to have you. Thanks for being here this Wednesday with us. Everybody, if you are just joining us, make sure you're going to ingrediology.org and seeking out the recipes if you'd like to go back and watch the VOD and make this. We provided a huge amount of resources detailing everything that you need to follow along with this class. As a matter of fact, let me give you a look at it. Here's our class guide, everybody. So when you go over and hit exclamation point recipe, it'll detail for you all the equipment that you need to complete the class. Then it has your recipes. Again, you can switch this to metric or US measurements. The recipe itself acts as a shopping list that you can check off all the things that you're getting as you're picking them up. You can scale it with multipliers. It has your nutritional information down here. All right? So go use that. Bucky's, get out of here. Culinary Rewind, welcome in, Cerise. Cerise, look at you, you lovely person. I hear you're down there hanging out with Irish Kate. I'm jelly. I'm helly jelly right now, okay? I wish that I could be there for the fun times that you guys are going to be having. Guys, make sure you're following Culinary Rewind over on her Twitch channel. She's another food and drink streamer here in the community. She also makes her own custom apron. So hit exclamation point apron in chat and you can go take a look at Cerise's Pieces. That's my name, trademarked, okay? I came up with Cerise's Pieces. Chef, how do I donate / tip? CB, thank you for that question, as leading as it may be. So there's 2 ways you guys can support here on Twitch. Well, not on Twitch, but support Ingrediology in general. We have a Ko-Fi page. Hit exclamation point support in chat. You'll be thrown a link to our Ko-Fi page. It's kind of like Patreon, but it has some more functionality for live streamers, specifically in terms of overlays and alerts. And then if you are a member on Tastemade, you can either tip when you join our class. All our classes are free because genuinely, I just want to do what I've always done, which is teach people how to cook. And I want to engage with as many people as possible. And so we open this up on multiple streaming platforms to anybody who's welcome to come. But if you'd like to help us pay for groceries or equipment or website hosting, all of which takes a couple $100s a month to keep Ingrediology going, you can subscribe to us on Tastemade to support. There's different levels, and at each level you get a different variety of benefits. So I'd encourage you to check that out if you appreciate what we're doing here. So thank you in advance. Ko-Fi or Tastemade, all right? Run it, thank you. You are quite welcome. I appreciate you being here. I hope you enjoy making this recipe here later on the week. Yeah, it's been a pleasure hosting you. All right. So let's bring this over and serve it up, everybody. So even coming out of the oven. Oh. 3, yes. This has had a chance to firm up a little bit for us here. We're gonna get some plates out. You can serve it in bowls. You know, I'm gonna do 1 in a big bowl like this, and then 3 other on small square plates. Oh, so just get in here, guys. I'm gonna put this off to the side for a second and see if I can fill in the bottom of my bowl with some of this filling, right? Well, screw it, we'll just take some biscuit with us as we go. What do you think, everybody? You happy with this? If you ship that over to Texas, that would be greatly appreciated. You got it, Paige. Like I said, I'm not guaranteeing how it's delivered. All right, this isn't an Ingrediology baking box. That looks good. Quite happy with that. I'm not even showing you this. I'm like over here. I'm using the camera and I'm over here and it's not even showing on the screen. Sorry. I'm sorry I'm like this. I'm sorry I'm so dumb. Trying to get some shots while it's recording that I can use later in post. I tell you what. I tell you what. Sorry, just throwing you guys all over the place. Okie dokie, everybody. We are going to call it a day here on Ingrediology. Again, I appreciate you all so much for coming out here today on stream. Make sure that you're following us on our social media, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. I really appreciate you. Let's see. Oh, our next class is going to be coming up next week. Wednesday, March 2nd is going to be our poke class. It's a Hawaiian dish where it's made with sushi rice and fresh fish and a whole assortment of veggies. This is just my take on it, but it's really good and it's very healthy at the same time. Whenever I'm craving some vegetables, then I want to make some poke. It's also a family favorite. So if you'd like to learn that as well, join me next Wednesday, March 2nd. It's going to be 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on all of our platforms. And we'll be going out live. You can find the class guide over on Ingrediology.org. Again, if you'd like to help make our show possible, you can support using Ko-Fi, or you can support us on Tastemade at a subscription level. Contributing $5 a month really goes a long way to helping us out with the cost that it takes to produce these streams. So thank you in advance, and we will see you next week here on Ingrediology. Thank you for the follows. Thank you. You're quite welcome, Paige. We're going to decide who we want to rate. I kind of did a closing, so I had it recorded for YouTube. Okay, where are we going? Who's online right now? Actually, Call Me Chef G is online. So that's where we're gonna go. Okay, very nice. Aust, have a great rest of your day, guys. Thank you, Aust. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, guys, again, we'll be with you here next Wednesday. You can cook along with us. We got 72 people ready to raid out. It's been a fantastic stream. I hope you all have a safe week and a great weekend. Say hi to Chef G for me. She's an amazing food and drink streamer, but I think she's playing Sims today. Actually, you know what? Just go troll her. All right? Peace.